Hello everyone. You all must have heard this term bond in many of the financial news or in our financial discussion. So today in this lecture we will be learning about what is a bond and what are different kind of bonds. So a bond is nothing but simply a piece of paper which is given by let's say I need some money and you give me money. So I am taking money from you. So I give you a piece of paper in which I mention a guarantee that I will return your money with certain sum of interest. So after let's say a time period is fixed, let's say 1 year or 2 year, I would return your money with some interest. So this simply piece of paper which assures a guarantee that I would return your money is bond. So if we see the definition, a bond is a simply piece of paper which acknowledges that its issuer, that is I am the issuer here, has taken money from the holder and assures a guarantee that issuer will pay back the money with or without interest depending on the conditions. That is conditions are mentioned on the bond with or without interest after maturity period, that is the time period that is mentioned in the bond paper on returning the bond paper. So a bond is nothing but simply a piece of paper. So let's say this is a bond. This piece of paper, and this contains three things. Three things are mentioned on this piece of paper. What are these three things? The first is face value. So let's say the face value of this bond is rupees 100. So when I would purchase this bond, I have to pay 100 rupees to its issuer, and then interest rate is mentioned on it. Let's say 10% per annum. Then time period is also mentioned on it. So let's say 1 year is mentioned here. This means that the bond matures in 1 year. So if let's say I purchase this bond from its issuer, I would pay rupees 100, that is its face value, to the issuer, and after 1 year, he would be when I would be returning this bond to the issuer, he would be paying me money back along with interest. So that is rupees 100 with 10% interest. That is after 1 year, I would be getting rupees 110. And this is simply the concept of bond. And the example that I have shown you, this kind of bond is called as simple bond or plain vanilla bond. That is, this kind of bond is the first type of bond, and this is fixed interest rate bond, or it is also called as plain vanilla bond. So this is the very first type of bond, and this is the most simple kind of bond. Now the second type of bond is floating rate bond. In the second kind of bond, as the name says, floating rate bond. That is, its rate, the rate of interest is not fixed here. That is, the bond would be like this only, but the interest rate would be mentioned in variable form. That is, let's say interest would be 4% plus repo rate. So this is how a floating rate bond is look like. So here, when I would be returning back this bond after one year, let's say I have purchased this bond from its issuer, and after 1 year I would be returning back this bond. So when I would be returning back this bond, he would give me 4% interest along with the repo rate at that time. So let's say suppose repo rate at that time is 3%. So today is the day when I am returning this bond, and I have taken this bond 1 year back. So today I am returning it, and today the repo rate is 3%. So the combined interest would be 7%. So I would be getting a final sum of rupees 107 on returning this bond. Thus, the floating rate bond is simply that kind of bond which has interest rate not fixed. So one component of interest rate is always variable. So here it could be repo rate, or could be bank rate, or could be marginal cost of lending rate. So one component is fixed and one component is not fixed, that is variable depending upon market condition of that time. So this is floating rate index bond. The third we are learning about is zero coupon bond. Now what this kind of bond is, let us study. It is simply a bond which has no interest on it. That means interest rate is not mentioned. So the question arises, how would a person who has purchased this bond would be earning, or why would a person would purchase that kind of bond which has no interest? Simply the answer is because these kind of bonds are issued at price lower than its face value. That is, let me draw this. So let's say it is a bond of face value rupees 100 and it is a zero coupon bond. So its interest rate is 0, which is not mentioned actually in this kind of bonds. Its time period is, let's say, 1 year. But one more component is there which is called as discounted rate. Discount price or discount rate. It is, let's say, rupees 70. That is, when I would be purchasing this bond, someone has issued this bond and now I am purchasing this bond, I would have to give him 70 rupees. So when I give him 70 rupees, he would give me back this, he would give me this bond, this piece of paper. But after 1 year, its maturity period, when I would be returning back this bond, he would be paying me back 100 rupees, that is its face value. So the difference between discount price and face value is my profit, that is rupees 30. That would be the amount of money I would be earning after 1 year, that is after its maturity period. So this kind of bond is called as zero coupon bond. Now the third kind of bond is inflation index bonds. Generally what happens is, in inflation index bond, whenever you lend money to anyone in general lending, let's say this is inflation index bonds, what happens is, whenever we give some money to some of the borrower, So when we give money and after when they return us our money back, generally the value of money depreciates because inflation always increases. And as inflation increases, we see the value of money reduces. So let's say when today I give you 100 rupees and after 1 year you return me back my 100 rupees, but the value of 100 rupees after 10 years would be same as what it is today. No, maybe 100 rupees would value much less after 10 years. So let's say today I can purchase two burgers in 100 rupees, but after 10 years I would be able to purchase only one burger for rupees 100. That is simply after when the person is returning back me my money, I am at loss because the value of 100 rupees is reduced. To take that thing into account, inflation index bonds are made. Now what happens here is, this is the face value of bond, let's say 100 rupees. This is time, interest rate, let's say 3% interest rate is there. But one more thing is inflation. That is, let's say 3% inflation and 4% interest rate is there on this bond. Now what happens is, let's say I have taken this bond, that is I have given 100 rupees to someone. So hello everyone, we were discussing about inflation index bonds. So as I was telling you, suppose there is a bond with a face value of 1000 rupees and inflation of 4% is there, and the time maturity time is 1 year and interest is 3%. So how according to that inflation index bond, the value that I would be getting after maturity period, when I would be returning back this bond to the person who have given me this bond and I have lended him money earlier. Now after 1 year, what amount of money I would be getting? So if this is the face value, inflation would be added. So let's say 1000 rupees with 4% interest, it becomes 1000 rupees plus 4% interest is 40 rupees, it becomes 1040 rupees. Now on this 1040 rupees, interest of 3% would be given. So 3% of this 1040 would be somewhere around 32 rupees. So it would be 1072 rupees. So this would be the final amount that I would be getting after 1 year. Now the point here is, the inflation index in inflation index bond, what happen is generally whenever there are creditors and debitors, so the person who is giving money, he generally is at loss because of inflation. Generally what happens is the value of money does not remain the same. So this inflation index bond take that image into account, and keeping that into account, the person who has given loan should not be at a negative margin. So it is beneficial for those kind of people who want to ensure that value of money be provided to them. Now this is inflation index bonds. Now the last and final kind of bond is foreign currency convertible bond. Now what happens, as the name says, foreign currency convertible bond, this kind of bond is having its face value in a foreign currency. So let's say this is the bond, then the face value would be in dollars, because dollar is a one of the most popular foreign currency. So its face value, let's say, is equals to $100, and interest rate will be 4% interest, and time, let time be 5 years. So now what happens is, after 5 year of time, the interest, if you take simple interest into account, it would be, let's say, after 5 year the interest would be $20. So after 5 year the amount payable would be $120. Now this is the concept of simple foreign currency bond. But the term convertible here, it means these kind of bond also give one option to the person who has given money. So the person who has taken the bond, he also have one option. The option is, after a predefined period of time, let's say in this case, let it be 3 years. So after a predefined period of time, the person would have a choice. The company would be giving him a choice that you either take your money in cash or convert your this money into the shares of that company. So this is the meaning of term convertible. That is, let's say after, this is the bond of 5 year, but the company would give a choice after 3 years. You want to continue and take your cash, or you want to convert your amount into share. So an equivalent amount of share would be given according to the money. These equivalent value of share would be given to the person who is having the bond. So this is the meaning of foreign currency convertible bond. This was the fifth kind of bond. So these are the most important 5 kind of bonds which are very important for the exam point of view. Thank you.